Xion, Lily, and Oliver slept cold together that night, and Xion was careful not to wake them as he got up to leave. He knew where the scorpions lived. Everyone did. And it was the part of the desert you avoided at all costs. The scorpions were fierce warriors matched in tenacity only by the Badger clan. They have a strict code of honor, and their chief was known to be especially unforgiving. It was this man that Xion hoped to speak with now, so he changed to sand and drifted to the scorpions' land. It had become an especially vacant stretch of desert with nothing but sand in every direction. Xion drifted over this sand, feeling everything around him until finally he found what he was looking for. He felt the scurrying of legs along the sand and focused on it. He found and followed one of the scorpions until it led him to a large rock formation and screed underneath it. Xion floated above the formation for a moment and thought hard of the person he sought before finding a scorpion slightly larger than the rest of the scorpions around him, sleeping in a chamber deep beneath the large stone. "Halt!" the scorpions commanded as Xion began to materialize in the tunnel leading to the chief's chambers. 4 more scorpions came up behind him and made stabs at him with their tails, but Xion remained as sand to keep from being hit. "I am Xion, leader of the wolves and of the fox. I request an audience with your chief." The scorpions stopped stabbing at the sandy column, realizing their efforts were in vain. They exchanged stern looks with each other as if to draw straws. Then one of the scorpions went hesitantly into the chief's chamber further down the tunnel to wake him. Immediately the scorpion's torched corpse came flying out of the chief's chamber, followed by a low grumble. "I told you not to wake me." The scorpion chief's voice boomed. "Lord Scorth, please. This intruder requests an audience." The other guard pleaded from behind Xion. "Intruders are to be put to death, not granted an audience with your chief." A large black scorpion roared as he emerged, easily dwarfing Xion. He lunged his tail at Xion and it slipped through his sandy figure. "I see. You could not kill him and had no choice but to wake me," Scorth said as he looked at the corpse of his torched guard. "You are forgiven," Scorth said as he tore a piece from the dead scorpion and began to eat it, then returned his attention to Xion. "What do you want, Fox? Has my daughter sunk so low as to send someone to assassinate me?" "No," Xion replied as he knelt as a show of respect, still in a form of sand, not fully trusting the temperamental scorpion. "I have come hoping to receive your aid. If you are the fox that the desert is rumbling about, and you are as powerful as they say, then why do you need my aid?" "It is not my aid, it is my power you are after," Scorth bellowed. Xion looked into his eyes and saw the rage in his heart. Not because he detested Xion, but rather that he was woken from his nap. "You go back to your pack of rats and those spineless mutts, and you tell them you will take this desert over the dead bodies of 1,000 scorpion warriors." Scorth drew a small dagger from his side, and it grew in length from a dagger to a short sword. As it grew it became white hot, and Scorth brought it down on Xion, who reached for his own sword to meet him. But Scorth's sword met Xion's sandy wrist and turned it to glass that immediately shattered under the blade's steel. Xion screamed in pain. It felt like his hand had been cut off, and he dropped Sententia's sword. Xion was made whole again, and he scrambled for the sword, grabbing it once more and collapsing into sand. Scorth stabbed the sandy cloud, making a streak of glass, and Xion felt a sharp burning pain across his shoulders. He thought as hard as he could of Xion and materialized in Xion's den. His sword made a loud clang on the stone floor, followed by the thud of Xion's body. "Xion!" Xion yelled as he grabbed Xion, still writhing in pain, holding his wrist. "Xion, he took my hand!" Xion yelled as he looked down. To his surprise, despite the screaming pain, his hand was still there. He inspected the ground around him, expecting to find blood pooling from what felt like a deep gash across his shoulder blades, but there was none to be found. "What happened, Xion?" Xion asked as he helped Xion to his feet. "I went to see Scorth, the chief of the Scorpion tribe. He has a sword of fire that can cut me when I am sand. Scorpions can forge elemental swords, Xion. That is why some of the elders doubt your power. They say your sword is nothing more than a copy forged by the scorpions. Xion paused as Xion stared at his hand and flexed his fingers. You don't look cut to me, he added as he inspected Xion. His sword turns sand to glass, but it looks like it cannot hurt you, he said, prompting a sharp glare from Xion. Speak for yourself. Xion balked back, still clutching his wrist and flexing his fingers. If he hits me in the heart or the head, he might just kill me. Xion, is it true that you slayed the entire snake clan? We have been hearing whispers from all over the desert, Xion asked, eyeing the slender blade. Yes, Xion replied as he got to his feet and retrieved his sword. Xion looked at Xion, solemnly contemplating the power that would have taken. A feeling of helplessness came over him, and Xion could see it in his eyes. Xion, you and your people are allies, not hostages, Xion said in an effort to calm the storms he saw in Xion's multicolored eyes. What will you do now, Xion? Xion asked as if he had not heard him. I looked in Skorth's eyes and saw his daughter is the leader of the opposition. I will go to her, and if I must, I will put them both down, Xion replied, not sure how to quell Xion's fears nor the searing pain in his wrist. Xion, the scorpions are proud people, be careful not to anger them, Xion warned. What you have done already may be enough to incite their wrath. If the scorpions turn on us, we will be at war, and it will not be one that we can win. Do you trust me, Xion? Xion asked, already knowing the answer. With my life, Xion replied after a moment's hesitation. You are my brother, Xion. If we are to secure our home, we have to believe in each other. Xion, you committed the dragon's sin, Xion began, and what's more, you did it by yourself. An entire clan gone. He paused for a moment to check Xion for signs of anger, and seeing none, he continued. What are we, Xion, if we kill everyone who disagrees? No better than the alpha scales of pious who demanded loyalty or death. That is not the way of the wolves, Xion. It is not the way of fur. Xion nodded knowingly. It is a last resort, Xion. I will never kill for the sake of convenience or to save face, Xion replied, thinking of the acolyte Skorth had torched and devoured. The day that I kill unnecessarily is the day I hand you this sword, and the desert will be yours to rule. Xion turned to sand and blew away, leaving Xion to contemplate Xion's words and his own choices. Xion sat on a rock, now bathing in the light of the two moons. He did as his mother had taught him. What he would someday have to teach Oliver, to channel his power and curb the beast within. Or had his mother taught Oliver as well before she died? He could not believe he had forgotten to ask such an important question. Xion, a female scorpion asked as she emerged from the sand and changed from scorpion to human. A beautiful woman of tan skin and brown eyes. How may I address you, milady? Xion replied, remembering what Xion had said about the scorpion's pride. Matera, the scorpion replied as she sat next to him and looked up at the two moons. You met with my father the other day. Yes, Xion replied as a small glowing blue scorpion crawled across Matera's face. She gently plucked the scurrying scorpion from her cheek, stroked it gently, and tucked it between her breasts. It must not have gone well, she said with a smile, thinking of her loud and brash father. And now you send for me to meet you, he for what? Help killing him? Not if there were a way around it. I only want to prevent any bloodshed between our people. Our people. Would you have me pledge fealty to you as the wolves are rumored to have done? My people will never follow a warrior chief that bends her knee to anyone, much less a fox. She paused for a moment as another small glowing scorpion crawled over her left shoulder. No, we would stand as equals, as do the wolves, Xion replied. But his words did not ease Matera's concerns. My father is a tyrant. He attempted to have our people commit the dragon's sin, killing the Bat clan to stop them hunting the desert moths. I helped a few of them escape, and that began the divide in our clan between those who support his actions and those who want no part in it. What assurances do I have that you will not do the same? Using us as nothing more than a tool to rule the desert, calling us to forsake our honor. After all, the rumor is that you have committed the dragon's sin as well. What promise do I have that I am not trading one tyrant for another? I will show trust to you like I have only shown one other, a secret that I must carry to my grave, and if I betray you, then you may use it against me as you see fit. Martera raised her eyebrow as the bright fluorescent scorpion popped its head back out from between her breast, and she gave it a gentle tap, making it return from where it came. What could you tell me that would show such trust? What secret could be so damning? Why I committed the dragon's sin? Xion replied as he turned from the moon to look Martera in the eyes and read her heart as he told her the story of his loss. I loved a woman once, a rabbit named Bonnie. A fox loved a rabbit. Martera exclaimed as she looked at Xion, thinking this was surely some sort of fox deception. I loved her, and she loved me so much that she made a deal with a serpent to use dark magic and have our child, a half-breed. Martera exclaimed. She looked his face over now, not sure what to make of him as he continued. She went back on her promise, and they killed her. Then out of rage I returned the favor. Martera understood now as she felt her babies crawling all over her. You are doing this to protect your son. He is all you have left of her. Xion felt her compassion welling up as she continued. I will welcome you as an ally, Xion, but we have to deal with my father in the way of the scorpion. So how does scorpion politics work? In the fox and wolf clans, the dominant male leads. Scorpion society is similar. The clan's chief is chosen by killing the current chief in honorable combat, and open war is not an option. I will not have any more of my people die in a bloody attempt on my father's life. What if I could kill him in his sleep? Xion replied, thinking of becoming sand and simply slitting Scorth's throat. That is a coward's way of killing. You fur-bearers know nothing of scorpion honor. Martera replied, shaking her head. The scorpions loyal to me would never follow you after that, much less the ones that are loyal to him. If your people are to be my people, then you must help me understand. Xion replied sternly. If my people become your people, then what of your fox clan? Does that make them mine? Martera snapped back as she retched internally at the idea of the scorpions becoming subservient to the fur of the desert. Yes, Xion replied. I want us all to stand as equals. A bond that goes beyond loyalty to clans. A family bonded by the sand we call home. Equals. A grand dream indeed. But if you want the scorpions to be a part of it, you must understand this. We admire strength and discipline, and we hold honor above all else. If you want to unseat my father, you will have to challenge him and kill him in open combat with no tricks or fox magic. Does that mean I cannot use the power of my sword? Xion replied, considering the task at hand. You are in luck. Scorpions are the only people who can forge elemental weapons. But rest assured, my father will use his sword as well. His sword is said to wield the heat of the desert sun. The contest must be won by brute force. And what of your father's men? Will they intervene? No, a scorpion would not interfere in an open challenge to my father. It would only bring my father shame and probably cost them their life. After the battle, though, will they accept you as their leader? Me? You mean to say that you wish to kill my father and name me as his successor? Yes, Martera. It is as you have said. I need to learn more about your culture, and who better to lead your people than you? If that is your desire, then your fight with my father needs to be a show of power. Make my people understand that if they disobey you, they stand no chance. If they think that there is any chance to usurp your power, someone will try. Xion turned over the conversation from the night before in his head now as he felt the sun beat down while he waited for Scorth. Martera had sent a messenger to Scorth issuing a challenge for leadership of the clan. He came from out of the desert sand, changing from scorpion to man, followed by a scurrying army that numbered into the hundreds. "Where is my daughter?" Scorth demanded as he locked eyes with Xion. "Was there a coward in my brood? I am the one that has come to challenge you." Xion barked back as a warm dry breeze blew over the desert sand. "As if a beast of fur could challenge me." Scorth scoffed. "Is it me or yourself that you dishonor by denying my challenge of your strength?" Xion yelled, goading Scorth on. "No. I accept your challenge. My warriors have come to witness me humbling my daughter. But if she has chosen you as her champion, then I will make the mighty snake slayer bend his knee before taking his head. The only way I will bend my knee is if you remove it." Xion barked with a smirk as he reached for his sword. He knew the stakes were high now. Xion was coming with all the fighting force they had, and if he could not kill Scorth before Xion arrived, the first test of their newfound alliance would be today.